Hello, everyone. Although Trump has been sending signals that the war will soon be over, starting from today, the war has once again entered an escalated phase. The countries involved have increased from the original three, America, Israel, and Iran, to now four. That is, the Houthi forces in Yemen have officially announced their entry into the conflict and have already launched attacks against Israel. Of course, the Houthi forces themselves are not particularly formidable. At best, they're just a terrorist group propped up by Iran, a sort of junior partner, right? A terrorist organization. However, this terrorist group is quite troublesome, and more importantly, the Houthis are now making threats. They are threatening to target another extremely crucial strait in the Middle East, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. So where exactly is this strait? How significant is its impact on the local area and the entire world? And as for the Chinese Communist Party, in the past couple of days, the attention this issue has received is no less than that surrounding Wen Jiabao's appearance. Who is the other key figure in the spotlight? It is someone whom some public opinion has touted as Xi Jinping's successor. This person's name is Jin Lei, the newly appointed party secretary of Shenzhen. Many of you may not have heard of this little-known figure, right? You might even wonder how he suddenly got labeled as Xi Jinping's successor overnight. Is he really a relative of Xi Jinping? Would Xi Jinping really hand over power to a distant relative? Today is March 28th, Eastern Time. I am Tang Qingyuan. Welcome everyone to our Jinyuan Talks. As you can all see, things that are beyond our expectations and imagination are happening one after another. The truth is that absolutely no one can really be certain exactly what is going to happen next in the coming days. Even the most central and influential figures like Trump and Xi Jinping themselves might not necessarily be able to predict with any certainty what the next step will be. If you want to keep track of the bigger picture, what should you do? It's simple. Just subscribe to our channel. Not only will you be the first to know what has happened, but you'll also understand why it happened. All right, let's start by updating everyone on the three major focal points regarding the escalation of the Iran war. The first major focus today is that the conflict in the Middle East has escalated dramatically overnight, just in the early hours of this morning. The Iran-backed Houthi forces in Yemen, for the first time since the conflict began, have launched missiles at Israel again. The Israeli military announced that they successfully intercepted a cruise missile launched from Yemen over the Red Sea. Then, as you can see in this footage, the Houthi forces came forward and claimed responsibility for this action. Their spokesperson named Sari also released a video today claiming that they used a large number of ballistic missiles to attack sensitive Israeli military positions and so on. Of course, this is actually an exaggeration. In reality, they only launched a single missile. Although prior to this, the Houthis had repeatedly issued threats for several days saying they were preparing to intervene in the conflict, they had not actually taken any concrete action to join the fighting. This time, it was the first time the Houthis took substantive action, officially joining the war, and of course, it immediately became headline news in global media. As we just mentioned, the Houthis are not really major players or top experts in the field. So why is this news, right? They only launched a single missile, yet it has attracted so much attention. Just how significant is their so-called participation in the war? First of all, we need to be precise. The Houthis are still currently in a phase of limited involvement in the conflict. They haven't fully and completely joined Iran's war yet, right? However, you could say that the Houthis have already crossed a red line and taken an important step, namely firing a missile at Israel for the first time. It's like firing a single shot to show that their finger is still on the trigger and that they could enter a phase of full-scale attack at any moment. Of course, if we look closely at the official statements released by the Houthis, it appears that their recent military actions this time are more about providing a form of symbolic support and deterrence. The main goal is to significantly intensify the level of regional pressure, especially to put much more direct pressure on the United States. They haven't said that they're going to get involved on a large scale right away. After all, if they were to fully intervene in this war, it could provoke a fierce attack from the US and Israeli coalition, which is something they actually wouldn't be able to withstand. So at the moment, they need to maintain a certain degree of strategic flexibility. However, the Houthis have also made it clear in their statement that if more countries join the US-Israeli coalition to attack Iran, and if the Red Sea, especially the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, is affected, is used for hostile actions against Iran, then they may have to fully and truly enter the war. Of course, everyone should pay attention here. The real key word in this information is what we just mentioned, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. This is another strait. Everyone, take a look at this map. In this map, the place marked with a red X at the top is the Strait of Hormuz, and the place marked with a red X at the bottom is the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. The black areas are land, and the lighter blue areas are these two bodies of water. One is the Red Sea below, and above is the Gulf. You can see that if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, a large amount of oil from within Saudi Arabia is transported overland and shifted to the ports on the Red Sea, specifically to Yanbu port. From there, the oil is loaded onto ships via the Red Sea, then travels down through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait to exit. In this way, it bypasses the Strait of Hormuz. Also, pay attention to Yemen's geographical location. It is situated right at the mouth of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, right at this spot. This is another choke point, so this inevitably raises a question. Under normal circumstances, as we all know, the proportion of global oil transported through the Strait of Hormuz accounts for about 20% to 27% of the world's oil. Meanwhile, the proportion of oil transported out through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait below accounts for about 6% to 12%. So if you add the two together, these two straits account for more than 30% of the world's oil transportation, which is roughly about 1/3. Therefore, if the US military launches a ground offensive at the Strait of Hormuz, right, we can almost be certain that Yemen will definitely target the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, and we would also blockade that strait. This would result in the disruption of 1/3 of the world's oil transportation. During the period from 2023 to 2025, in fact, the Houthis have used similar tactics over the past 2 years, right? Launching missiles to attack merchant ships and so on. In total, they attacked more than 100 merchant vessels, which caused chaos throughout the Red Sea. The situation was so bad that the United States even had to personally intervene and teach them a lesson, right? Some of you might still remember this. So, if both the Bab el-Mandeb Strait and the Strait of Hormuz are blocked at the same time, it will inevitably lead to several major consequences. First of all, the most immediate consequence is that oil prices will undoubtedly skyrocket. It could even reach $150 per barrel, and in extreme cases, as some people speculate, it might go as high as $200. This possibility cannot be ruled out, and the pressure on Trump would definitely increase dramatically. Domestically and even within the international community, anti-war sentiment would surge, with calls to stop the conflict immediately because people simply couldn't take it anymore. Secondly, the second major consequence is that if Yemen blocks the Bab el-Mandeb Strait or even attacks merchant ships in the Red Sea, it will almost certainly drag more countries into this war. For example, take Saudi Arabia. After the energy crisis intensifies, everyone can see that both the UAE and Saudi Arabia are already eager to take action, right? They're basically ready to make a move. If Yemen gets involved and cuts off the Red Sea shipping route on the Saudi side, then Saudi Arabia definitely won't be able to tolerate it. So it's possible that the entire Middle East could turn into a chaotic battleground. That's why when you talk about a war like this, if you want to end it in 2 to 3 weeks as Trump envisioned, that's just not likely anymore. So if this war drags on, it will bring even more unpredictable consequences. The third major consequence is that if such a situation really occurs, it would force Trump and the US military to quickly accelerate their efforts to seize control of the Strait of Hormuz. This means that casualties could very well increase, because if you want to take it by any means necessary within a limited time frame, your casualties are definitely going to be higher. It could also trigger a series of political consequences. At the same time, this would push Trump, in terms of diplomacy, to urge more countries to participate in escort missions in the Strait of Hormuz, such as NATO allies and so on. Because if oil prices really skyrocket to 150 or even 200, the first ones who won't be able to handle it will be countries in Europe or Asia, right? Japan, South Korea, and also NATO countries. They might find it increasingly difficult to stay out of it. So at that point, they might have no choice but to act quickly to ensure their own interests first. At the very least, they would have to open up the Strait of Hormuz and bring oil prices down first, right? So from now on, the war between the US-Israel coalition and Iran, you can see that it has already changed. It has already become, the war against Iran has now turned into Iran and its terrorist proxy organizations joining forces to target the world's energy hubs. They have launched a war of terror attacks against these vital transportation choke points. Its nature has already changed, so this is actually Iran's so-called asymmetric warfare strategy, right? If you attack me, I'll attack your neighbors. If you keep attacking me, I'll smash all the electricity and natural gas switches in our village. Anyway, if I can't live well, then no one else should think about living well either. This is Iran's current mindset, and it's also why, even though Trump now clearly has an overwhelming advantage in warfare on Iranian soil, he still hasn't been able to resolve this war quickly. It's because of this reason. Iran is using this kind of particularly rogue tactic. If you attack me here, I'll go attack somewhere else, turning the whole situation into a muddy mess like the 111th Regiment incident. The second major focus has shifted from Japan. The 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit has now arrived in the Middle East, which is the amphibious assault group led by the USS Tripoli. Those 4,500 to 5,000 U.S. troops have already arrived, and today this has been officially reported. According to the Wall Street Journal, plus the U.S. troops previously deployed, the 82nd Airborne Division has about 2,000 to 3,000 personnel. So in total, there are now about 7,000 to 8,000 U.S. troops successfully assembled in the Strait of Hormuz. According to the latest report from the Wall Street Journal today, it has been revealed that the United States may soon deploy more than 17,000 ground troops right at Iran's doorstep. Of course, the former commander of the U.S. Navy in the Middle East, a retired vice admiral named John Miller, came forward and told the media, he said, "A force of 17,000 soldiers is still not enough to hold any stronghold for an extended period." He said that this is far from enough to launch a full-scale invasion of Iran. So what can they actually do? They could seize certain strategic locations on the Iranian mainland, ensure that Iran's uranium reserves could be extracted, or perhaps occupy one or two islands, nothing more than that. With just 17,000 troops, that's all they could manage. This leads to the biggest problem, which, as we've discussed before, is that ground warfare brings with it the greatest trouble, namely the number of casualties, because right now, Iran undoubtedly already feels a sense of existential crisis, a threat not just to the regime, but to the very survival of the nation itself. They are deeply aware of this. So now their mindset is basically, if I'm going down, I'm going to take a few others with me. Yeah, if I'm going down, then no matter what, I'm going to make sure that none of you in the surrounding areas get to live in peace either. So they might really start acting like a mad dog, lashing out in all directions, which could cause a lot of trouble. That's the situation right now. So if US military casualties really start to rise, then the pressure on Trump will be enormous. So how exactly will this ground war be fought? It really is quite difficult for Trump. Of course, right now, Trump is trying to negotiate with Iran, and the best way to resolve this would be through negotiations, right? Trump also very much hopes to resolve things this way, but personally, as I've always told everyone, I'm not very optimistic about these negotiations. At least, objectively speaking, all the various signals and information we've seen released so far have not been very encouraging. Besides that, there's another piece of news today, what I would call an escalation of the situation. What is it? The U.S. Navy's Nimitz-class nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the USS George H.W. Bush, along with its carrier strike group, is currently en route to the Middle East. That is, it will be deployed together with other carrier strike groups to the area of responsibility of the U.S. Central Command. Why is the Bush heading over there? Actually, it's because the previous carrier, the Ford, right? Well, it had a fire incident. It's said that the fire was quite serious, causing several hundred officers and soldiers, well, after their bunks were burned, they had no choice but to sleep on the deck, right? It was extremely tough, so they had no choice but to withdraw for repairs, effectively leaving the fight. Now, the Bush is stepping in to fill that position. In other words, the U.S. is still maintaining the scale of two carrier strike groups in the Middle East, at least for the short term. It's unlikely that they would just withdraw and give up their position. So you can see that Iran, by bringing the Houthis into the picture, what does that show? It shows that Iran firmly believes it still has cards to play. And not just any card, but a trump card, right? That is, as we just mentioned, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. So as long as Iran believes it still holds cards in its hand, especially such a strong one, it's unlikely to make any major concessions in negotiations. That's why I'm not optimistic about the outcome of the talks. There was also news yesterday. Iran reportedly launched at least one missile which hit Saudi Arabia's Prince Sultan Air Base, resulting in 12 U.S. soldiers being injured, with 2 of them seriously wounded. This attack also damaged several U.S. military refueling aircraft, including one that, as you can see in the photos, is extremely important to the United States, the E-3 Sentry AWACS. We all know that AWACS are very expensive, right? And AWACS essentially serves as the core command center and a hub for aerial combat operations. So regarding this AWACS, the U.S. government has already come out and admitted it, right? It's true that it was damaged, but as for the extent of the damage, the details are still unclear at this point. However, what does this show? It shows that Iran still has the capability to launch counterattacks from time to time. Its missiles are still being fired. What exactly is going on here? We can give everyone a more detailed explanation about this later, because Reuters has published another exclusive report, and there's also the issue of the situation escalating, plus a third major focus. That is, on the U.S. and Israeli side, it's what they call fighting while negotiating, right? So in this context of fighting and negotiating at the same time, Israel made a major move yesterday. They announced that they would intensify efforts to strike Iran's military industry. Pay attention to this wording, it's rather subtle. They're targeting Iran's industrial facilities. The stated goal is to weaken Iran's ability to produce missiles and weapons. So, how exactly are they doing this? What actually happened? Let's pause for a moment and move into today's sponsored segment. I'd like to recommend to everyone a health supplement that's often sold out, the Red Sea Cucumber Wellness Capsules from Jeju Island, South Korea. These Red Sea cucumbers are harvested by the local Haenyeo, female divers on Jeju Island, who have been practicing traditional free diving for generations to catch wild Red Sea cucumbers. The restorative effects are actually very good, especially for internal inflammation and so on, right? So, its repurchase rate is very high. And because these are wild Red Sea cucumbers, the supply is quite limited, so they often sell out. Let me share the experience of a lady just now. Her 88-year-old father back in China suffered from severe knee pain. He was extremely uncomfortable. He had such difficulty moving that he could only get around in a wheelchair. So this lady decided to give it a try after watching our program. She bought the Red Sea cucumber and mailed it back to China. To her surprise, she received feedback saying that after her father had taken it for a while, he reported a significant improvement in the comfort of his joints. He was already able to move independently, and his mobility had improved. In addition, we also received feedback from Ms. Song, who is from Miami and has had high blood pressure for many years. She told us that after taking the Red Sea cucumber for a period of time, she found that she no longer felt dizzy during the day. Moreover, her sleep quality at night has also improved significantly. So she especially wanted to express her gratitude to us. Of course, these are all feedback from our viewers and represent personal experiences, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone will have exactly the same results after taking it. Precisely because this Red Sea cucumber is in limited stock, it often sells out. Therefore, we have specially launched a promotional event with 2 major gifts for fixed monthly purchases. What does this mean? As long as you purchase a box of 60 vials every month or every 2 months on a regular basis, you will receive a free pack of Shengwang probiotic tablets. At the same time, if you order the 30 vial pack of Red Sea cucumber, you can also receive a free Korean repair sunscreen. In addition, during our promotional event, users who participate in the monthly subscription purchase will also receive another major gift, an extra $10 voucher for lifestyle products, valid for 2 months. Besides this, there are also exclusive offers specifically for friends in mainland China, which are only available to them. As long as you purchase a box of this 60-piece pack of Red Sea cucumbers, you will not only receive a free pack of Shengwang probiotic tablets. You can also get an extra gift of a 65-year-old sealed wild black sea cucumber, and in addition, a $10 Shengwang voucher. The more you buy, the more you get. But if you say, I don't want to subscribe regularly, I just want to make a one-time purchase, that's fine too. Just remember, when you make your purchase, be sure to enter my promo code TJY, those 3 letters, to enjoy a 15% discount as well. The only thing is, I can't guarantee that the product will always be in stock at all times. All right, thank you all for your support. Let's get back to the previous topic. What kind of strikes did Israel launch against Iran nearby? Just yesterday, Israel bombed the Mobarake Steel Company located in Isfahan. There is also the Khuzestan Steel Company located in Khuzestan province. Both of these steel plants are directly connected to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and are important components of Iran's military-industrial production chain. For example, they supply materials for the construction of missiles, weapons, infrastructure, and so on. After all, it's steel. Together, these 2 factories account for a significant proportion of Iran's total steel production. These 2 factories together account for about 70% of Iran's steel production. So after these 2 factories were bombed, it had a significant impact on Iran as a whole. It affected its economy, its military-industrial supply chain, and its industrial infrastructure. The impact of this strike is actually quite substantial. In addition, Israel also took the opportunity to bomb a power plant that supports the steel factories. They bombed the power plant as well. So under these circumstances, Iran was really hurt this time, right? Iran's foreign minister, Araghchi, immediately posted online declaring that they would carry out major retaliation, saying, "You have gone too far." Then the Revolutionary Guard also issued a follow-up warning. They directly demanded that the 5 relevant Gulf countries know that their industrial targets, such as steel plants or large enterprises, are now also on Iran's list. They said, "You are now targets for our attacks as well. Your employees should evacuate immediately, as we could launch airstrikes at any time. You are all now on our retaliation list," and so on. And then, sure enough, today the first incident happened. Emirates Global Aluminium, which is an aluminum manufacturing company, a large aluminum plant located in Abu Dhabi, was actually attacked by Iranian drones and missiles. It suffered severe damage and several employees were injured. So as you can see, with the war going on until now, why do I say it's escalating? On the surface, it looks like they're negotiating over there, but on this side, things are escalating. While negotiations are ongoing, both sides have started attacking each other's civilian infrastructure, and this has already gone beyond just the energy sector. Previously, it was things like bombing your gas fields or Trump just threatening to bomb your power plants. But this time, both sides have really started bombing these important pieces of industrial infrastructure. So if the negotiations don't go well, In the future, it could be an all-out assault where any and all facilities might be bombed, right? There would be no more red lines or any kind of rules or norms left, would there? So just yesterday, on March 27th, Trump at the Future Investment Initiative Summit in Miami came out and revealed that U.S. military operations against Iran have already achieved significant results. Of course, he always says that, right? He said so. Although Iran's military capabilities have already been greatly dismantled, the U.S. military still has 3,554 remaining targets to strike in the future, and it is expected that we can complete these strikes in a very short period of time. As we just mentioned, right, these more than 3,550 targets under normal circumstances might take about 1 or 2 weeks to deal with. Because just yesterday afternoon, as we mentioned earlier, Reuters released an exclusive report, right? They revealed some information, quoting 5 sources from the U.S. intelligence community who said that as the U.S.-Iran war has now entered its first month after a month of fighting, they said that the U.S. intelligence community has privately assessed and confirmed that about 1/3 of Iran's missile stockpile has already been destroyed. They said that only 1/3 can be confirmed as destroyed, and for another 1/3 of the missiles, their status is considered unclear. However, the assessment believes that it is very likely that through bombing, these missiles were either damaged or their entrances and exits were bombed, so they are now buried in underground tunnels and cannot be used. That's roughly the situation. And then, they also believe that the remaining 1/3 may still be in usable condition. As everyone knows, when it comes to warfare, there's a principle called overestimating the enemy, right? So looking at it this way, Iran might still have about 1/3 of its missiles available. 2/3 of the missiles are either confirmed destroyed or even if not destroyed are no longer usable, something like that. So how many missiles does that 1/3 amount to? Based on estimates of Iran's missile stockpile before the war began, it's roughly 600 to 700 missiles. So as of this Wednesday, what happened? Actually, the U.S. Central Command made it clear. The U.S. strikes have already hit more than 10,000 Iranian military targets, and about 92% of Iran's large naval vessels have been sunk. If we go by what Trump just said, he came out and revealed this himself. He said there are still more than 3,500 targets left to strike. So, as you can see, after a month of attacks, about 10,000 targets have been destroyed, and now there are still over 3,500 left, which is roughly another third. You see, this means that at least another 2 weeks of airstrikes may be needed in the future to achieve the goals Trump mentioned. However, in my personal view, the current focus of the war is not actually on targets within Iran itself. As for targets within Iran, you could say that Iran now has almost no ability to fight back. The U.S. military just needs to keep bombing. The real crisis lies in the 2 straits, right? One is the Strait of Hormuz, and the other is the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Yes, but especially the Strait of Hormuz, which involves the possibility of the U.S. military having to fight a ground war. That is the truly critical issue. In other words, by this weekend, there should be at least some initial results, and these will be revealed next week. Will both sides ultimately lay down their arms and negotiate peace, or will there be a serious escalation into a multi-nation melee? Both possibilities exist at the same time, but personally, I think the latter is relatively more likely. So there's still a lot to watch for. This war isn't going to be as quick and straightforward as we might imagine. It's not going to be over in a flash with everything settled and everyone just leaving, right?